Hey guys, so here I am in a horribly lit office area in Asheville, and I'm hogging their internet today because mine went out. But since yesterday, my live feed wasn't exactly informative, really, not in a business way, that is. So I thought I would try to make up for that by talking about something that I see a lot of people having trouble with, especially when it comes to hosting. So hosting and domain names are a really big one that I see people having trouble with. So first of all, let's say you have some sort of business and you want to get a website. So first, in order to get that website, you're going to need a domain name. I'm just going to cover the basics in case you don't know. I'm sure most of you do, but just in case you don't, I'm going to go over them anyway as if you didn't. So to get a domain name, you can get a domain name from GoDaddy. You know, there's lots of sites that sell domain names. It's really easy. I don't recommend GoDaddy for anything, but for domain name, I guess they're okay. So buy a domain name, you know, $12 to $15. They're really cheap, and you only pay for them yearly. So buy a domain name, and when you're choosing your domain name, chances are the one that you want is going to be taken because a lot of domain names, you know, have already been snagged. So write out a list of some really good ones that are, you know, that you want to use, and keep trying until one works because one eventually will. And you might have to get a .net instead of a .com. I would definitely try for a .com. Those are always going to be better. But if you have to settle for a .net, okay, or a .org, you can also have a .tv. You know, like Plex.tv. That's like a TV, I guess, for like a TV site or a TV blog more. So you could do that if, you know, depending on what it is you're doing, it all depends on you. So when you're choosing your domain name, make sure that it isn't like 7 letters. That is way too long. Make sure that it's short, you know, congruent with who you are and what you do. And somebody once said that the ultimate test for a domain name is if I give you the name of my domain over the phone, can you write that down or type it in and remember it? That's what I was told the ultimate test for a domain name is. So make sure that people are going to be able to understand it over the phone, or if you're just talking to them in person and you don't happen to have a business card. So that's my advice on domain names. Now, as far as hosting goes, as I said earlier, don't use GoDaddy for hosting, okay? Stay so far away from GoDaddy. Don't even try. Don't even look at GoDaddy. I have used HostGator, and of course LGM. We host websites too. So if you want good hosting, you can definitely do that through us, and we'll host your site. There's a bunch of hosting sites, but I'm trying to think of the one that Bluehost I hear is okay, but I've never used them personally, and a friend of mine actually recently left them for whatever reason. So if you don't know what hosting is hold on one second, people are messaging me here. Okay, so hosting is, okay, you've got data from your website, right? And that data is going to be stored on a server so that people from all around the world are going to be able to see your website. So if your hosting goes down all the time, that's not going to be very good. And I hear that's a problem with people like Bluehost. So make sure that your hosting is good. Make sure they're not super expensive, and also make sure they're not super cheap, because if they're super cheap, they're probably not going to be credible. So if you want good hosting, LGM can do that for you. It's really pretty simple way to avoid people like GoDaddy, that's for sure. So these are basic things that I see a lot of people struggling with, and I hope that's been helpful. I don't really think that it's necessary to get in too deep on hosting, and I'd have to actually show you, you know, but obviously I can't screen share in a live feed. So remember, when it comes to a domain name, stay away from GoDaddy. Make sure that it's congruent, that it's not super long. Make sure that it's fitting to whatever it is that you're doing, and make sure that people can actually remember it. And hosting, avoid GoDaddy. HostGator's okay. Bluehost, not really sure about them. HostMonster, I would stay away from them. you can always come, to someone like us, and we'll host your site for you at a reasonable price with, all the bells and whistles. So I hope that was somewhat helpful, especially if you're new or if you are thinking about going more online. And if you have any questions, feel free to let me know. And definitely feel free to suggest further live topics. It's been really helpful for you guys who have suggested topics so far. I really appreciate that. And we will speak soon.